All right, this week I focused on feature engineering, building up on last week logistic regression. One of the best analogies to explain what features and targets are is imagine you are a teacher giving a student um, questions and answer. So, as a teacher, you're trying to help the student understand the relationship between the questions you're giving the student and then the answer. So features in this case will be you can say the number of questions, or you can even say the complexity of the question. So increasing the number of features is like increasing the number, either the number of questions or the complexity of the question, so that the student will be able to build complex relationship and patterns between the questions and the answer. Your focus is trying to help the student get the highest amount of answers basically from the questions. So a simple example. So let's just imagine you're trying to get the price of a house, for example. Now, some of the features you can use are, let's say, the size, the how big the land is, the close proximity to the nearest road. Another feature you can use is security, closeness to city center, the environment. You can also even argue that the distance from Mercury to planet Earth, as the Earth is moving and rotating, you can argue that that's a feature. You can argue that how hot the sun was today is a feature. All these are features, yes, but do they add to your students getting the relationship between the price of the house and the feature? They don't. So this is what feature engineering is all about, basically. I'm trying to help my model build better relationship between the features and the target variables that I give it. Target variables are like um, expected results that I want the model to give me. So let's get into some of the details that I did this week. So this week I increased my feature set from about 35 to about 80, 86, it's something. I also increased my data set from about 7,000 rows to about 65,000, around 65,000. So this was what took the most of the week, because I spent like close to 2 or 3 days on this. I had to basically re-engineer my pipeline, and then you also have to like be conscious of API, and then so that they will not block you basically. So that was what I had to like engineer it in such a way that they will basically not block me. And then another thing I did, all right, so after all of that, um, getting all my data basically, I now had to basically do the feature engineering. So there are a lot of tools that have already been built, a lot of libraries, a lot of plugins. So that was basically what I focused on this week. I used most of that. For example, there's Pearson coefficient, um, mutual information, variance information, so many other ones, permutations, and the rest. So I used most of that to basically engineer my data set, and I reduced it from about 86 to about 24. So it's basically, it was, should I say redundant? It wasn't redundant, obviously, but it was redundant for the logistic regression model I trained. Redundant is in the sense that the result I got for my original number of features was more or less the same thing after I re-engineered it. So it wasn't really what it's basically for logistic regression model. But next week I'll be going into decision trees, and hopefully I would find a way to streamline all the processes that I used last year, and then put decision tree through that same process. And hopefully I'll get different results.